Mr. Carpenter, we'll start with you.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and Senators. My name is Michael Carpenter. I'm the mayor of the city of Schertz, Texas. I thank you for allowing me to speak to you today. Since the year 2000, our city has seen 109% growth in population, a little under 5% year on average. A challenging thing to manage for any business, and we struggle to keep up with the demands of our citizens for services pertinent to our rate of growth. One of the challenges we face is keeping up with the demand that arrives before tax revenues generated by new construction and economic development wins arrive. It's akin to what we've seen in school districts. Not exactly, but akin. A new school is built based on the projections and resources at hand at the time of financing, and by the time construction is completed, the erection of portable buildings to support the student population growth has already become a necessity. I'd ask you to please consider the following. Texans already have the ability to regulate ad valorem taxes firmly ensconced within the powers currently granted them by the state and the cities in which they live. Cities regulate taxation by the action of elected officials, by policy enumerated by resolution or ordinance, or for home rule cities, more forcefully by charter provision or charter amendment. And if all of those fail, the people have the ability to change out their elected officials either at election times or by recall. People also have the right to bring forth initiative or referendum and force the hand of local government with regard to ad valorem taxation or any other matter that they wish. Given all the outlets for people to enforce their will on local government and current state law, Senate Bill 2 is in my mind unnecessary. It's a political redundancy, except for one salient point that I feel makes it potentially worse than a redundancy. In my particular case, I'm already 12 police officers short based on what national per capita averages say I should have. In the shadow of Senate Bill 2, should it pass, in years when we do not hold an election, even though I fulfill an empirically defined need with the support and approval of my neighbors, the voters, if I go above 4% growth to do so because of the $30,000 price tag of holding an election in my city, I'm penalized nearly the equivalent of one police officer or one firefighter or one paramedic to finance an unnecessary election based on a randomly chosen tax cap that doesn't provide palatable tax relief to Texans. Please do not send Senate Bill 2 out of committee. Indeed, in the case I've offered, it effectively creates an accretive tax rather than providing meaningful tax relief for the citizens of the state. Thank you so much for your testimony. Thank you for your time, sir.
Mr. McKay?
Bill McKay, Lubbock County Commissioner, and I am for property tax relief. Absolutely. Anything we can do to lower taxes. I'm opposed to Senate Bill 2 because it's not really tax reform and it's not tax relief. I think it was mentioned that it's in the future, possibly it could be lower, but I'll assure you that regardless of which county or city or school district you're in, your tax bill is not going to be less if in fact this bill passes this year or next year. You are in control, and with all due respect, Vice Chairman and Senators, you are in control of two things that we're talking about, and that's regarding property taxes, and that is school taxes, which is 58%. In my case, it's 74% of my tax bill is my school district taxes. So you're in control of that. And then underfunded mandates. At Lubbock County, we spend $4.2 million on indigent defense, and we receive through the Texas Indigent Defense Commission $338,000. So we're spending Lubbock County taxpayer property tax money, $4.2 million, for something that you're mandated and we're mandated to do. We don't even want to think about what would happen if we just said, no, not going to do it anymore. So that's money we've got to spend out of our control. Juvenile probation, many years ago, juvenile probation was more of a state program, and we supplemented that. That has flipped over. We are now paying $6.9 million, and we receive $1.6 million in grants. And we try to be as efficient we can. We've held or lowered our tax rate 5 of the past 7 years. We start out trying to keep the same. If we can get effective tax rate, that's our goal. I mean, we're conservative in Lubbock, Texas. Those of you that know our senator from out there understand how conservative we are. So thank you for your efforts and your work, and anything you do, we appreciate it.
Thank you, Commissioner McKay. Mr. Dorstein?
Thank you, Senator. Good evening. I appreciate Senate Finance Committee listening to our testimony today. My name is Russ Durstein. I am a Senior Field Director for Concerned Veterans for America and for Americans for Prosperity, Texas. I come today to testify in support of Senate Bill 2. We believe this Senate bill will provide real property tax reform. It'll also give citizens greater say in their local government, at the same time still funding local needs as citizens see fit. I came to Texas in 1985 as an Air Force veteran, separated in 1988 with honorable discharge, and decided to raise my family there, and I've lived in West Texas for nearly 32 years now. I'm looked to in several areas for leadership. I've been elected county party chairman there, represented SD 28 on the SREC, got a chance to serve with you, Senator Bettencourt there. And oftentimes I am looked to for opinion leading, and also people come to me and talk to me about their concerns. We hear over and over again at CVA and AFP when we're out knocking on doors, this tax relief issue is eating folks up when they can't afford to stay in their own homes. I have many veterans that I've served with that are retired, that bought property there, who no longer can afford their homes to live there. I also have a son who is a deputy sheriff, and he is affected very much by the ability of the local community to raise money to pay for the things that he needs to defend our community. Citizens love their first responders. They love the services they get, and when given the proper argument as to why they need more funds, they do respond. And so I would like to encourage you today to bring real tax relief, to be able to bring the funding that is needed, and to remove the obstacles for citizens to have to get petitions, to get on a ballot, and make it simple for them to be able to voice their concerns.
Thank you for your testimony.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Larson?
Hi, my name is Scott Larson. I'm from Schertz City Council, and I did come here on a bus, but Mr. Bettencourt, you're the first person to inform me that I'm a paid lobbyist, so if you can get with me afterwards and tell me where I can get my check, I'd appreciate it. I put away my notes, and I'm going to speak just from my heart a little bit, and not to be rude to the others, but I want to speak to the conservatives on the chair. I'm opposed to this bill, and we've heard some really heart-wrenching and real stories of people that talk property tax is killing them. And property tax is horrible. You can't own property with property tax. You can only lease it from the government. I hate that. That's the reality. But the truth is that's the system that's in place, and we need it to fund our governments. What if somebody went to a doctor with a real illness and the doctor gave him a placebo and a misdiagnosis, patted him on the back and told him they did a great victory for him? That's exactly what this is. Conservatives, we've fought against Washington with their mealy-mouthed, half-baked, fake reforms that don't do anything to actually help us, and we fight against it constantly. And now it's come to the state level? That is really frustrating. We had the author's own testimony from somebody he invited, the tax collector, say, hey, we did the study on this and it would have only impacted 9 jurisdictions, and the ones that it would have impacted, we're talking about, her words were minuscule, we're talking about measly sums of money, paltry sums of money. That's someone testifying for this bill. The people here that have real problems talking about property tax, this bill doesn't do anything for them. It's a great way to give them a placebo. It's a great way to pat yourself on the back and say you've done tax reform. Let me tell you something, there is a tax crisis in this state. And it is caused by elected officials, but they're not sitting on this side of the table.
Thank you. Appreciate your testimony. Thank this panel.